What's up everybody, it's JC back with another video. Today I'm bringing you a beginner ultimate Veigar guide, one of the strongest scaling mages in the game, very beginner friendly and can carry 1v5 all of your games. It will help you climb in ranked, and there's really not a lot of bad matchups, especially late game. You're just such a monster, you can one-shot anybody. So we'll go ahead and get started with a brief overview of his abilities and passive and everything, and then we'll get into runes, builds, and laning tips. So Veigar's passive is called Phenomenal Evil Power. It grants him a stack. Every ability grants him a stack when they strike enemy champions, and takedowns, which count as assists, takedowns are not just kills, grant an additional 5 stacks. And every stack of this passive gives you 1 AP. So you can see here I have 31 stacks, so I was just messing around a little bit, and I have 31 bonus AP for absolutely doing nothing. So for example, I'm just gonna go ahead and use an ability. You saw it went to 32 just from hitting an ability. Every time you hit an ability, it goes up. And that is a very, very key component. You have to base all of your playstyle around that passive. Let it scale up and you will win games. Your Q is Baleful Strike. It is just a point, you have to aim it, trajectory, and you'll throw it out, and it can go through the first minion or first enemy hit and can hit up to 2 people. So obviously it won't go through the second, but if you hit 1, it will go through to the back line. Also, adding to his passive, in a way here, if you kill an enemy with this ability, you gain a stack of Phenomenal Evil. This works against minions, so every minion you kill with your Q gives you 1 phenomenal power. So if you kill 2 minions with a 1 Q, you get 2 AP. If you kill a cannon, you get 2 additional, so that would be 3 for a cannon. So the ultimate combo there is to kill a minion and a cannon with 1 Q for 4 AP. W is Dark Matter. It is just like a big rock that comes down from the sky, summons dark matter from the sky, dealing a portion of magic damage. Every 50 stacks of your passive, reduce this ability's cooldown by 10%. So once you get like 200 stacks, this is already down to 40%. So ranking it up does not reduce the cooldown, but it does increase the damage, so it is important to rank that up as well. You always want to max Q first. Just note that Q first max, and then it's kind of up to you about the other abilities. E is Event Horizon. Veigar twists the edges of space, creating a cage that stuns enemies that pass through for 1.5 seconds, which goes up to 2.5 seconds at max rank. The cage lasts for 3 seconds. So if you just place it over here, they can obviously move around in that, but they are not able to get out of there unless they have a blink or a TP. So they are stuck in there to, you know, take all the damage you can throw at them. You can time it and place it to where they are on the outside of the E. So there, you see I placed it on him, on the dummy, and it stuns right away. I missed it there, but it stuns right away if you hit on the edge. So that is your E. It's very strong. You can also use your E as a peel tool. So if someone's engaging on you, you can place it on you and run. You're not that fast, so you need to place it a little better than that. So if I'm running out and they're on top of me, I'll kind of just, while I'm running, like let's say over here, I'll put it right here, and they can't really do enough damage before running into that wall to kill me most of the time if you play it right. So that's your E. In skill order, honestly, Q max all the time, and then personally I max my E first for the increased stun duration, but both are equally as strong, and it's also a viable option to max both at the same time. So that leads us to our ultimate, which is our Primordial Burst. Veigar blasts an enemy champion with primal magic to deal between 215 and 430. Obviously that increases with rank, as well as your AP ratios. So, and that also acts as an execute, so increasing with the target's missing health. Damage is maximized when they're below 33% health. So if I just throw an R on them here, it only does 214, which is still a decent amount of damage, you know, nothing crazy. But if I land some abilities first and get them kind of weak, well, that was a little too weak. but it does the max damage there. You see it did 437 versus the, what was it, 230. So it does so much more damage the lower they are. So you always want to finish off your combos with your R. You never just want to R to lead off. It just doesn't do enough damage. And for Veigar, the combos, they're really basic. If you don't want to use your E, you can just try and land your WQ. It's just unlikely because it's very telegraphed. So your main combo is going to be trap them in your E, doesn't matter where, and then throw your W in the center. And as you can see, that is very difficult for someone to dodge. There's so much area being covered there. So when they're in the middle of the E, they either have to avoid the W and get stunned, or they have to avoid the stun and get hit by the W. So that's how you land your W most effectively. And really your full all-in combo is, you know, you E to trap them, then you Q, then you R. And that you can see with just rank 1 R and rank 1 W does so much damage early on. Once you rank it up and get your passive stacked really high, you can one-shot anybody in the game really, unless they're just going full tank. But yeah, that's really all the abilities for Veigar. We'll go ahead and go over the rune pages that I recommend. There's really only one main rune page that I think is beneficial, and that is what I'm running here. So I'm running Electrocute, Taste of Blood, Eyeball Collection, Ultimate Hunter, Mana Flow Band, Transcendence, and then Ability Haste, Adaptive Force, as well as whatever resistance you're playing against, armor or magic resist. I think that this is the best rune. I don't think there's anything else that compares. The only other suggestion that I would say is possible is if you want to play more aggressive and more roaming potential, you can switch out that Electrocute with Predator and just get boots early on to get that Predator roam off for the movement speed. Other than that, I would really stick with the Electrocute, and that combo, that rune page will work in 99.9% of your matchups. For builds, I have here the optimal build that I've tested with Veigar. So for starter items, 9 times out of 10, you want to start with a Doran's Ring. It just gives you the best sustain with mana, it gives you good health, it gives you extra damage to minions, and some AP to start out with. I would say in 99, again, 9 out of 10, 99% of your matches, you want to go Doran's Ring. You could go Doran's Shield if you really want to be extra safe, but I don't think you need it because you're going to be playing so safe from the beginning anyways. So Doran's Ring, health pot, 2 health pots, and a stealth ward, obviously. And then your rush item, what you want to get on your first back, or as much of it as possible, is Lost Chapter. Lost Chapter gives you max mana over 3 seconds once you level up, and it pretty much solves all mana issues, and it builds straight into your first core item, which is going to be Luden's. 9 times out of 10, again, Luden's is the best mythic. For boots, there's really 2 options. If you want max CDR, you can go Ionian Boots of Lucidity. I recommend going Sorc Shoes for the magic pin, just because you are a burst mage. You want to kill people in as little time as possible with giving them little to no counterplay. So you want to hit them with all your abilities, one shot with one full combo. So the Sorc Shoes helps with that. And then again, here's your core. So you have Luden's, which I think is the best mythic on Veigar. We'll go over some other options for mythics in a minute, but Luden's is the best. So you want to get that first into a Cosmic. I believe is a very powerful ability, or not ability, a very powerful item on Veigar. Very strong. It gives you AP, it gives you health, and it gives you some move speed to help you in combat. When you're in combat, you get move speed and AP. Then third, I recommend going Death Cap. This synergizes so well with your passive, because as you see, the passive on your Death Cap is increases your total AP by 35%. Excuse me. Once you've got up to 300, 400 stacks, that's 300, 400 bonus AP that's going to be added into that 35%. So you can get well over 1,000 AP every game with Veigar as you scale into late game. The last core item I would recommend is Void Staff. Excuse me again. And Void Staff is almost a necessity because every time people go against Veigar, they try and stack magic resist to try and not get one shot by him. So by the late game, you're going to want to go Void Staff. Probably 70 to 80% of the time, you'll need Void Staff penetration. So here's the situational items. Zhonya's, if you're against an AD heavy team and need some extra survivability, as well as the active stasis, is very good. Banshee's Veil is very good if you're against heavy AP team without, you know, like a Karthazal or something that you can block with your spell shield. Shadow Flame is very good in all comps. It gives you extra damage as well as magic penetration and health. A lot of AP, very good item. I would recommend doing that in a lot of squishy. You want to add to that, you know, full burst potential. I would recommend getting Shadow Flame. And then here's an interesting one, Frozen Heart. So, you know, with the passive being stacked up and being able to get so much AP, especially with the Death Cap passive, Frozen Heart is a good pickup for Veigar. It adds a lot of survivability, gives you 400 mana, 90 armor. And if you're against something like Vayne's or any ADC that attacks fast Tristana, any of those ADCs, Kog'Maw, you reduce the attack speed by 20% when you're near them, as well as reducing your incoming damage by up to 5 plus your bonus HP. It's a very strong item, especially for survivability on Veigar, and I recommend it if they're going heavy AD. If they have like 380 carries in the game for some reason, Frozen Heart is never a bad option. So other mythic options, again, Luden's is the best in my opinion, but you do have options. Everfrost, if you like activatable items and you would like an extra root, it is good. You can use the, we'll go ahead and buy it here so I can just kind of show you. I can't because I'm not there. Let me go TP back to base real quick and get it. And then we'll go back to the lane and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So you can use the Everfrost. When you hit the middle, it roots them. And you can use your stun. Well, I missed it. But you root them and then you hit your stun before they get out of the root. And it's like a guaranteed way to hit your root and your stun. So that's the only other mythic I would really recommend is if you like activatable items. Then we have Liandry's, which adds just max, you know, bonus damage burns to your enemies. So it's just a burning ability. I don't recommend this that much unless you're just super tanky team that you're going against and you just need that extra max health damage as well. Then we have Crown, and that's good if you're against all-in champs, you know, like assassins that just want to, you know, all-in you at every given time. You can negate all their damage with the safeguarded passive of the Crown of the Shattered Queen. Those are the abilities. I think they're the best. If you follow that, you should have some good success with Veigar. For matchups, so we'll go ahead and go into the matchups. These are the matchups that I do recommend picking Veigar into. I think they're good matchups for Veigar. You have Ryze, Akali, Yasuo, Yone, Sylas, Ahri, and Vex. And the main reason for most of these is if you can get them in their E, they don't have any blinks or teleports to get out. You know, Ahri has her R dash. She would go straight into your E. She can't get out of it. Yasuo, Yone's dash, they would get stuck in your E. Akali's dash, E. Vex, when she goes in her R, can get stuck in your E. All of those things you can counter those ability or those champions with. They do have better all-in potential, especially early, but you outscale all of them very hard, and you are just better in the late game if you can make it out of laning phase against them. Bad matchups for Veigar. So here we have Katarina, Zed, Anivia, Kassadin, Victor, Vel'Koz, and Xerath. I think these are all bad matchups for various reasons. Katarina has a dash that can get out of her Shumpo is a blink, so she can get out of your E with it. Zed can get out of your E with his W. Anivia, Victor, Vel'Koz, Xerath, they all outrange you, so it's hard to get any of your abilities on, and they have a lot of annoying poke and various abilities to, you know, poke you down before you have a chance to engage on them. Kassadin, again, with his R, he can just get out of your E, you can't catch him, and he can just burst you down in the late game. So honestly, your ban picks for Veigar, there's really 3 main options: Katarina, Zed, or Kassadin. I would lean towards Kassadin. You're seeing him a lot right now. He's very meta, very strong. Or Katarina, just because I feel like with Zed you can kind of survive okay, but Katarina is very hard to play against, and Kassadin is very, very hard to play against.
Yes.
So the overall goal of laning is to play extremely safe till you're level 6 and allow time for you to scale. You're ideally wanting to last hit your minions with your Q. See there, I got the stack. I missed it there because I'm terrible, but there I missed it again because I'm terrible once again. But we'll try and get this cannon here, and I'll show you what I mean. So we're at 62. You hit your Q, it went up to 65. That's what you're wanting to do with your Q. And again, higher stacks equals more free AP. You always want to hit as many spells on champions as possible. This means you do not want to sacrifice minions to hit them, but if you have an opportunity, let's say there's someone standing in the back line there, and you can kill the back line with your W and hit them as well, that's free AP. You're getting the AP from hitting the champion as well as killing the minions. So always focus minions though when you don't have a kill threat, but try and hit as many spells on champions as you can. You want to keep the wave as close to your turret as possible on Veigar. Where I'm roaming here, this is the best place to keep the wave. You're very gankable, especially early. So you want to make sure you're farming efficiently and safely near your turret, especially till you turn level 6. And remember, this is a very key component. Assists are just as valuable as kills for your passive. If you get a kill, you get the same amount of passive stacks, which is your takedown of 5 stacks, as you do with an assist. So dying for a kill is never worth it on Veigar if you can live with just getting an assist. And then the last main tip for Veigar, and this is just a general rule of thumb, at the 20-minute mark roughly, you should have a minimum of 200 stacks on your passive. This can be much higher and ideally will be much higher if played correctly, but you want to have at a minimum of 200 stacks at 20 minutes. That is it for this, beginner's ultimate guide to Veigar. If you guys have any questions or concerns and, want to address them in the comments, or have, differing builds that you think are better than this, I'll be glad to talk with you. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe the video, and let me know what champ you want to guide on next. And I hope everybody enjoyed. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out, everybody.